Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. We talked all last week about the A in My Spades program. Ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given in life. And that leads right into, well, now that you're asking for what you want, now that you've learned that belief is a tool, not a thing you have to do in something esoteric, now that you've learned that manifestation isn't the complicated process of creation of something for yourself, but rather the simple process of using your dissociative skills earned as a CSA survivor to cope, using them to let go of things in your life that aren't serving you anymore, things that don't make you happy. And when you remove those from your life, all that can be left is what you do like. So if you don't get out there now that you've got it, right? It's kind of left with the assumption that you're supposed to like make it go away now. Learn how to not dissociate now. And people are stuck with like we talked about the week before last, and especially the shame is not yours, the first S in spades. People, you don't have to have perfect forgiveness in your heart, and you don't have to not have any vengeful or hateful feelings before you can move on and have a happy life. That doesn't mean I want you to harbor those feelings either. That is also unhealthy. I'm just saying you're only human. Give yourself a goddamn break and get on with it. And that's what I mean by don't wait to feel okay to be okay. So let's just recap the spades and how it all leads to where we are, the D right now this week. S, the shame is not yours. It's the first thing you've got to do, and you've got to do it all day, every day, because survivors don't have a graduation date. And if you're waiting for the day to come that you're never going to feel shameful again when you shouldn't, or think of something that happened to you, but still be overcome with guilt and shame before you do what we're learning, which is talk yourself, cheerlead yourself. Well, the first cheer is shame is not yours. Shame is not mine. Shame is not yours. Shame is not yours. That's the S in spades. And I took it apart like for 5 days. But really, the shame is not yours. If you need to know more about how and why the shame is not yours and dig deeper into that, message me. That's what I do. P, we move on. Once you get that triggered management thing down all day, something starts to get to you and you say the shame is not mine, right? That is one way to prevent CPTSD events, I have found. I am not a therapist. I just play one on TikTok. I am a CSA survivor. 7 years of grooming and assault, several years of actual rape and assault. I have been through things that caused me to dissociate, and I have 2 alters whom I have named Little Girl and Rage in retrospect because they weren't named then. I met Little Girl 22 years ago when I first entered sexual assault, except it was called sexual abuse counseling now. And my therapist agrees with me that it should be all references to sexual abuse need to be changed to assault, because when you minimize things with weak words, didn't you learn in writing class to always use the best word? I was writing something today and I put, I would like, and then I'm like, no, demand. Demand, that's a powerful word. Well, assault, when someone puts their penis in you or makes you suck their dick or whatever, that's assault. That is not abuse. So change the language. And that's important to me, changing the language of society. And that's the E in spades. I'm like Carol Channing today. My mouth is dry. That's the E in spades. My mouth is dry because I started a medicine. I am not ashamed to once in a while resort to a back pocket medicine. I don't believe in antidepressants. Again, I am not a doctor. Do not stop taking something because of anything I say. I'm just saying consider discussing with your actual licensed PhD, whatever they are, physician, therapist, psychiatrist, whatever, that CPTSD sufferers are often prescribed antidepressants. I mean, not often, most often. That's the first thing they jump to. I don't know about you, but I'm not depressed. I'm not in any way depressed. I have PTSD, and it's complex. That's the C, because when I was a child, I was raped repeatedly. And I learned to dissociate, which isn't even considered a mental illness. It's considered an excellent coping skill. And those who dissociated the best and the most end up seeming to have the most masked, at least, normal lives. People who go on to succeed and not become the drunks and the abusers themselves tend to have the best dissociative skills. So that brings me back to the top of this and why I said all of that. Today we're going to be doing the D. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. So, granted, now that you know the shame is not yours, you've got no reason not to move forward. Now that you've learned to separate the past from the present, and that's huge. We spent a week on it, and I'll keep always touching on it, but you need to go back to that week, and they're all on YouTube if you want to do that. Otherwise, I'll get back to P again, because we'll just loop. When we finish, we'll start. Okay? And they all kind of wind together, so I'm sure I'll discuss it a little bit. Okay, I brought it up that much. Separating the past from the present, might as well just do. I talk about what I call, because it's a popular social term, and you all know what I mean by a rabbit hole, jumping in a rabbit hole, ooh, spiraling down. Okay, well, jumping in the rabbit hole of crazy is what we do when we are so stressed out that we don't know what else to do. Because crazy makes your mind just go all over the place, and taking away those thoughts feels good. Going psycho feels good momentarily until you emerge embarrassed or in the hospital or with people unwilling to continue associating with you, and then you feel bad and sorry for yourself because, damn it, they should feel sorry for me. I'm a CSA survivor, whatever. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. You can be as pissed as you want. You can want all the vengeance you want. Just don't do it. You can have hateful thoughts. You can be non-forgiving. And you can still not make that the focus of your life. That can just be a blip of, okay, I see what happened to me. I carry it with me. And I am pissed about it, sure. But if I make that the focus of my life, then what's going to happen is I'm not going to be able to move on and find the joy. So back to what we talked about last week, the A, which is going to lead to this week. Ask for what you want. You're going to manifest reality by using your skills in dissociation and just removing. If it doesn't fit, let go. Like I talked about at length the last time, if you see a red flag, bye-bye. Red flags are not a reason to ask questions. Red flags are a reason to walk. That is my 100% non-licensed opinion. I never, ever would give a second chance to anybody who can't keep their pants on, who will tell me a lie. I do not accept liars, period. I will not even associate with someone who has ever called me a liar, because I am a lot of things, but telling it straight up is one of my best qualities. And I also have Asperger's syndrome, which pretty much just makes it impossible for me to do anything else, because I just don't see the sense in it. So, that being said, you're going to go out and do things that make you uncomfortable. For me, I admit, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I have played, generally in front of tens, but at times in front of hundreds and even thousands of people. It doesn't bother me a bit. Being dragged onto a stage, something like that, because it's still a me and them. It's a me and them situation. But I have found that the people I talk to seem also to feel awkward in social situations. Like, I would sooner play in front of 10,000 people on the spur of the notice with no warning on my flute and sing a song I didn't know than I would go to a dinner party with 6 people I do know. I don't feel comfortable walking in. I'm comfortable being on the stage and playing and getting into my own world. But at the point that I have to emotionally exchange with people, I go back to the S in spades, where it got written for, what it got written for. I feel inadequate. I hate walking in anywhere. I don't want to make an announcement. I want to slink in the back door and just kind of be there. Because I've always felt that I'm not equal to other people. And taking that apart in cognitive behavioral therapy, which you all by now know that I am all for, and everyone should be doing trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. Everyone on the planet should be doing cognitive behavioral therapy, which we will call CPT because that's a mouthful. And CSA survivors, or survivors of any kind of trauma, any kind of PTSD, whether it's complex or not, I truly believe TFCBT will change your life because it's truly changed mine in big, big ways. In the past, when I did it just to bring myself into alignment with my two alters, Little Girl and Rage, I named them. They didn't have names. I'm not like that kind. There's all different ways to have alters. And dissociation really, what I'm calling my alters are not personalities that like take over and go introduce themselves to people and live my life, but people who take over in specific circumstances. Little Girl would take over so that I never forgot. It's not like I never didn't know, but she was somebody I could file away. It was like you learn to compartmentalize when you're young, and that's why you dissociate. And dissociation also, when you're a child, causes a lack of a different kind of brain development where you don't grow as many connections between the right and left sides of your brain. You know, the experiencing emotional sensation side and the side that puts it into memory and makes sense of it all. So when you're being traumatized, you don't make sense of it all. Not at all. You know, it's just, so that's what CPTSD is. It's like, you don't want to make sense of it all. It's too much to bear. So it stays jumbled memories, and you shove them down and you shove them down and you push them inside yourself and you swallow them. And then when they rear their ugly head, you feel so crazy and it hurts so bad. And it's like the lid trying to bubble off the pot, and you're like trying to keep it in. No, I'm not going to think about it. No, I'm not going to think about it. No, I'm not going to think about it. I can't stop thinking about it. And boom. Right? Now you're crazy. Now it hurts too bad. And so you cry, you freak out, you scream, you go get drunk. Anything you can do to avoid what you need to do. And what you need to do is let yourself remember that. But that's very hard and very painful, and it can be unsafe. So you need to do it in a safe space with a counselor or a therapist or somebody you trust who knows about what you're going through. And that leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about today. Look, I actually do make notes. My notes. Do you want a photo? If that helps you at all, you may screenshot today's notes. It's pretty hard to read, though. But I actually did write that down, I'm pretty sure. I never look at my notes, generally speaking. I just get a flow what I want to talk about that way. So what I'm leading to is, while you want a safe person to know your experience, and while it's very important that your partner know your experience, I didn't tell 3 husbands. I married and divorced 3 times without ever telling them, before I married them at least, what had happened to me extensively as a child. And it turns out it was important. It was important. And I did them and myself a disservice in that. That being said, it is important that you don't turn your partner or potential partner into your counselor. Or you know what they're going to be? They're going to be your friend and your caretaker, but not your lover. And if they are your lover, you're lacking a quality that could be there if turn them into your counselor. So I think it's important critical that the person, and this is gender-free, I'm a gender-free kind of gal, I'm a gal myself, but you be you, and I don't care what's in your pants. So whenever I talk about interactions, it's not about man, woman, woman, man, it's about person, okay? So your partner, think of this, your partner wants to experience happiness and joy in life. They like you already, or that wouldn't be your partner. There's something going on there. If you are honest that you've had this experience in the past, great, all the better. But if you start telling them every intimate detail of your experience, you're basically going to give them the same CPTSD you're trying to get over. You know, I went so far as to tell my partner once, if I told you everything that had happened to me, you'd be crying in a pool of your own vomit, or vomiting in a pool of your own tears, I think I said. Works either way. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I didn't tell my partner that I put it in a live stream. That's exactly what I don't want to do. Said that wrong. I need a drink. No, I don't buy expensive Starbucks. I do buy Starbucks coffee, though, and then I put it in Starbucks bottles that I recycle because they're excellent for that, and you travel well, And then if you're like at an airport or something, or somewhere on the ill, and you want to ditch it, you can too, and you can recycle it properly because it's glass. So anyway, partners, yes, tell them. But be their joy, too. You should each be each other's joy. And so many CSA survivors are so busy trying to be something for somebody else, trying to be what their partner wants and hoping that they measure up. At least I was, and a lot of people I talk to are, and I've read lots and lots of like every book at the library, and that my therapist told me to, and that's online about it. And it seems to be a common thread and that breaks my heart, because I have finally, no offense to my ex-husbands, but I prepared myself to finally feel intimacy in a way I never had, to actually want somebody physically, not like I'm going to give myself to them physically and I want to in the sense that it's the right thing to do in the sense of the relationship, but I was compelled by pheromone and mind fuck. I've always said you have to fuck my mind first, but little did I know that it never really happened until it happened. And so at the risk of sounding like Tom Cruise back in the day when he, and I'm bad with names, pardon me, I'm an ass, I'm bad with names, him and his famous wife, they split up then, he was gushing all over. Well, it's true. Then what I've discovered, and it's pretty amazing, is it made me think back to why I never knew before. Why wasn't I able to have this level of intimacy with anybody, even though I tried, even though I thought I was in love with them and meant it. I meant it. I didn't marry people haphazardly. I meant it all 3 times. But what was stopping me, I believe, and I see now, and I'm writing about it, is when you are raped, and I want to use straight up blunt words because I'm tired of people beating around the bush. Sexually abused. No, raped as a child. You didn't choose it, so there was never a time when you were attracted to someone sexually by logic, reason, their scent, the fact that you have common interests and goals, that you really want to be physical with them, and then you think about losing your virginity or not, and then all that. You should have the chance to think about all that shit, make your decisions, whatever they are, and be happy with them. And I imagine that it must be in that circumstance that you could feel what I am feeling now for the first time after all of these marriages and divorces and things. I'm feeling a pheromone pull, a chemical drive to do sex, to be with my partner and only him, to be, I like to say them, oops, let it slip. But why didn't I ever get there before? Because I never knew it was a thing. And I'm afraid that you don't know it's a thing. So I've been talking to people. That's why I always tell people, message me. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, for real. There's no at the end, and I know they always say that, but there's not. I'm going to get there. I'm going to have an e-course and sell it. Sure. I'm going to be a speaker on a bigger level. I'm working towards all that right now. My book's coming out. I'm finishing the manuscript by the end of this month, and then it takes a while. I don't know. It's my first book. We'll see how that all goes, but it shouldn't be too damn long. And yeah, but for right now, I just want to hear how you feel about the concepts I'm presenting, because I'm actually like working with a therapist, and my dissociation and using it for good, not evil thing is kind of a new not written about thing. And I think it could be therapeutic and helpful. And so evidently to a couple university professors who asked me if they could use my, the preliminary 7 chapters of my book as required reading in their class, and it is pinned to the top of my Facebook page by the same name, Linda K. Survives. And there's a YouTube channel where these live streams are in their entirety, and there's over 80 of them now. I've actually been doing this for a couple years, but just real haphazardly to write my book. I do best stream of conscious, right? And otherwise, I'm a person that rewrites and rewrites, and when they want 4 pages, I give them 12, in a paper, and get in trouble for too many words. I'm sure that comes as a surprise. Anyway, point being, back to what I'm tangenting off of here. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Get out there, do what you need to do. And know that your partner, that's what we were talking about, your partner is not your counselor. Your partner does not need to also think about all the horrible things that happen to you. Only in the most need to know. Only feed information on the need to know basis about those nitty gritty details is my recommendation, because it ain't nobody's business. We all had our cross to bear. Tell the courts, tell the psychiatrist, tell the counselor, tell the therapist. That's their job. I have one. I used to see Molly for an hour a week, and I'm going to get back to it, especially after yesterday when I actually went to the doctor and got, said, I will not, and I do not recommend that anybody take an antidepressant. And if you're on one, I suggest you talk with your doctor about the fact that CPTSD is not depression. It's not the same thing, but it is the 99% go-to medication that most doctors and untrained people will give you. And you don't want to go to somebody untrained if you have sexual assault CPTSD, which is totally different. Well, it's not totally different. There's a whole lot of similarities, actually. But there's a whole nother component to it from PTSD that requires a different and more extensive approach and a certain understanding of a certain type of professional. Okay, so by all means, utilize that. And I'm, again, happy to talk with people. And I'm writing a section in my book, actually, a survivor section. So I do want to hear what you have to say. And you can message me and we'll set up a time to like FaceTime or Zoom, or if you don't want to see me or me see you, we can just message, whatever. And recount your experience for possible inclusion. It'll all be included one way or the other, because I'm putting together a kind of an overview so we can all cross-reference each other's experience. And I think that's very important, so that everyone sees that you're not a freak. You have CPTSD, that doesn't make you something wrong with you. I mean, it's not right either, but it's just, it is what it is. You're a CSA survivor. So don't take this harshly, but so deal. So deal. Deal appropriately. The way to deal appropriately is don't kick your own ass. The shame is not yours. Separate the past from the present so you don't jump down rabbit holes and sabotage your relationships and your career. Ask for what you want so you don't just end up with what's given in life and just be bobbing on the what's given sea. Have a goal and go for it. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Okay? Don't listen to anybody telling you gotta have perfect forgiveness to get to heaven. You can't have hate in your heart. You can't want vengeance. It's like, just be smart enough not to go kill anybody, but know that you have the right to be upset and now get on with it. And the way I do it, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, this is my gun right here. My mouth is my gun, and my voice is my gun, and your mouth is your gun, and your voice is your gun. Everything you can do to change the language of society. Don't call the person you fuck old man. Don't call the person you fuck little girl. That's what my first husband called me, and he was a great guy, and he didn't know that it was driving me insane that he would call me little girl in sexual situations. So I always felt like I was being raped, and instead of talking about that, I thought, I just have to take it, and he's such a nice guy, and we get along in every other way. And I was just like, it was horrifying to be so in love with somebody, but feel gross physically, but not be able to talk about it. And that's why we have to open up these discourses. That's why we have to help each other. And that's why I want to share with you what I have learned, so that you don't spend 20 plus. I'm not even going to tell you how many years young I am. It's irrelevant. Not because I'm ashamed. I'm very glad to be my age. You know, I've survived. I'd rather be alive. It's too late to die young, and that was never my goal or intention. Well, it was when I did try to kill myself twice, actually. But I failed, and I learned a lot. And that's actually on YouTube on the Linda K. Survives. If you look up suicide, just key that in. And it's not depressing. It's not pleasant. But it's, you know, there's always something good that comes of something bad if you want there to be. And that's where we're at. It's the choice. Do you want there to be a better life? Do you want to feel better when you go out? I have never gotten over feeling weird when I walk in a place. But you know what? God damn it, I walk in every place now. And I thought I'd never tell anyone what happened to me. And like, God damn it, I tell everyone what happened to me now if they want to hear. Or even if they don't. And I educate and advocate everywhere I am. It started as vengeance, and I'm not ashamed of that. It started because when I had a blackout a couple years ago, started writing my book because I was so angry that this bus driver raped a 26-year-old bus driver, white, rapes 14-year-old black girl who he coerces to his home and gives alcohol, and he didn't get any jail time. All he got was probation and to stay away from kids for a while, and the reasoning on the judge was because it was only one incident, his first rape, and because she had drank the alcohol, 14-year-old. We've got to make people understand what grooming is. I drank the alcohol. I was like 12 and 11 when I was drinking the alcohol. I'm not guilty. The shame is not mine. I was being given alcohol by a perverted older man who was going to, over time, whether he intended to or not, turned me into his little child gross mistress, you know, little plaything. And I was so guilt and shamed and fucked up in the head over it all that I didn't say anything. I didn't want it to happen, and I didn't stop it from happening. And then I hated myself for decades because of that. Because I didn't say anything, I didn't want it to happen, and I didn't stop it from happening. So it's like, my God, it's been torturous. Honestly, it's been a really, really hard living my life this way. And then I started writing this book, and I did some more cognitive behavioral therapy. And then I just did it again in January because I had a very serious issue I needed to overcome that isn't related to this, but it's, it's related to self-worth. It was a self-worth issue I was having, it's so easy. It's just so easy to run down that road of, well, if I'd have just this, if I'd have just that, if I'd have just the other. But you didn't. You didn't because you were a kid. I was a kid. Cut yourself a break and put the blame where it belongs. Okay? Then move on. I was talking to someone online recently who is tasked with burying the stepfather that raped her as a child repeatedly for years. And I'm like, throw him in a ditch and take the money. That's ridiculous. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't have to have a relationship with someone that hurts you. Get on with it. But I stray off of don't wait to feel okay to be okay. And onto my personal dissociation. Dissociation just works through the whole thing, though. So, let's go back to the notes. Let's see if there... I know. I did want to tell you that I came on yesterday morning and I was like, I was just going to leave, and then I'm like crying and no makeup, and I don't wear makeup anyway, actually. I put illuminator on, L'Oreal illuminator. Love the stuff. That's all I use. And a boomstick. But I stray again. That's it. And mascara. Oh, and eyeliner. But everyone needs some eyeliner. So I went to the doctor, and beforehand, I let you guys know, I hesitated to do this, but then I felt it was important that you see me falling apart and going for help. I decided I need help, And as long as I'm getting it, I might as well let you guys know that this happens. Once in a while, you need more. And I said, I'm going through a very, very unusually stressful time right now, getting ready to move with an angry landlord through no fault of my own. I have a broken foot, haven't been able to work since February 13th at my day job and my business, feelgoodfairtrade.com. God bless you guys for being customers, but we're not making enough to keep a roof over my head. And Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund, I just got off the ground, but know that all contributions to Sweet Survivor go to Sweet Survivor, not me. And Sweet Survivor is to provide rescue transportation to victims of trafficking and assault. And the reason it's called Sweet is Survivors Will End Earth's Trafficking. Except this is backwards to you, right? So Survivors Will End Earth's Trafficking. Sweet. And I've got merchandise coming out that I really, really need you to buy, because this charity can do so much good in the world, and I'm really excited about it. You know. So anyway, I went to the doctor and talked at length to a PTSD specialist yesterday at my doctor's office. They got me in for an urgent, but at my doctor's. And was pronounced what I felt I was to begin with, which is not in need of any kind of huge treatment, just an anti-anxiety medication for right now, because they know how anti-regular pill routine I am. Unless, except in extreme cases of, bipolar or chemical imbalances that don't stem from this, I really believe that most, at least many, sufferers of PTSD and CPTSD would do better taming the anxiety. And I'm so excited to tell you about this. And I'm not a med person, so part of me is like, oh, don't get him thinking about drugs. But I got to tell you, once in a while when this kind of thing happens, something like what I'm taking, hydroxyzine, it's in the same class as Benadryl. It doesn't mess you up any more than a Benadryl would, but it has the added effect that they don't even know why, of affecting your serotonin levels. And so it seems to, they're not sure. It has some kind of effect on your serotonin that relieves anxiety, and it's had great success, but it's non-addictive, it's non-opiate, it's an antihistamine, same class as Benadryl or Zyrtec. It'll make you as sleepy as a Benadryl would, but not any sleepier. And I had taken it previously to sleep because I've had lifelong severe sleep problems. I mean, I can't sleep more than 3 hours in a night ever. I work around the clock pretty much. Or I lay in bed wishing God would let me sleep. My lips are dry. Okay. So, I was given that to take just as needed. And the last time I got a bottle of 90, 30 I got last time. This was a bottle of 90. The 30 pills lasted me over almost 3 years. I had those. That's how infrequently I feel the need for something like that. But it's nice to have when you really feel like you've done all you can to cope, and maybe you just need to come down a little bit, de-stress a little bit. I was getting muscle cramps, back cramps. It's just so tense. So that plus, this is the first time anyone has offered me a sleeping pill. And back in the day when I was trying, because I thought I was going to die if I didn't sleep, tried everything: Ambien, Lunesta, time-release Lunesta, Clonidine pins, I don't know, something like that. Nothing works for me. Nothing keeps me asleep. Then I'll just be awake and fucked up in an unpleasant way, and I don't like it. Ambien felt good, but didn't make me sleep, but it was like, oh, it's college again. I'm hallucinating, So, but no, I need to sleep. So they gave me last night, took one Paxosine, and Paxosine is a sleeping, something that helps sleep, but it's not a sleeping pill. Again, not an opiate, totally different than anything I'd ever tried, and it's CPTSD specific. So it's a medication for people with PTSD of any kind who also have insomnia. And the way it works is by blocking, like, it's like a calcium receptor blocker. And I slept last night longer than I have in years. It says it takes like 3 or 4 days to feel any obvious effects in a couple of weeks. But for me, maybe it was placebo. Maybe it was just thinking it was going to work. But I doubt that. So I'm pretty happy to actually have found that. And I'm not opposed to a back pocket medication, even though mostly I think we can handle our issues without medication. So I just wanted to tell you that because I want to be totally honest that while I teach the SPADES program, there is a time and a two that I'll take a pill. All right? Don't be ashamed if you have to take a pill. But for God's sake, make sure it's prescribed by somebody who knows that CPTSD and PTSD are best treated by anti-anxiety medication or by these specific receptor blockers than they are by full-on antidepressant treatment, because that can lead to sexual problems. It just changes. I did go through antidepressant regimen early on. I tried Zoloft. I tried Paxil. I took one Effexor and hallucinated for 3 days. I thought I was going to lose my mind. And I was like, no. Wellbutrin, throw that in the pile. Gabapentin, which is Neurontin. All of them changed me in a way I didn't like. I like my emotions. I don't need an antidepressant. I just need an anti-anxiety thing once in a while when I feel overrun to the point that I'm being triggered. And because trauma compounds, you'll find that it seems like so unrelated. And people will even accuse you maybe of, oh, you always do that. You always have a CPTSD event when I'm upset with you about something else or whatever. And it's like, no, that's trauma compounding. Trauma compounds, meaning whatever your stressor now, totally unrelated. Be it financial, be it emotional, be it something personal, be it work. If you are getting intensely stressed about one thing, it brings up memories of other stressful events. And if that stressful event for you was being raped as a child, then yeah, you're going to feel that now. And you may not make the conscious connection, or you may. And if you have CPTSD, you may actually go into triggered events. So, again, perfectly normal. Trauma does compound. I thought of something else I wanted to say. When I say don't wait to feel okay to be okay, when I say go out there, that doesn't mean go out and have sex. That's not what I'm saying. Don't go out and be sexually promiscuous. And here's why. People with CSA survivors have often gone through a promiscuous period, especially right after getting away or before any kind of therapy. But you're not really being promiscuous. That's what other people will say. And you may even feel that way yourself because you've already labeled yourself as a bad person instead of, you haven't gotten to the point yet, rather, of learning to heal from that and knowing that the shame is not yours. So if you're that person, really what happens is you dissociate. So when someone pressures you for sex, you're so used to just going away and taking it that you just do. And then what people don't realize is that every time you do that, I mean, I've never been much of a fuck around girl, but I have had a couple of bad moments that I attribute to, I really had hoped, even though the circumstances were such that I didn't do my research, I wasn't thinking about what I wanted, I was trying to be something to somebody, and I rushed it out of like drunkenness after a funeral, but maybe, not that I have personal experience with that, not that I don't. Just saying, shit happens that you regret, but the common thread for CSA survivors seems to be that what you're really doing is dissociating. And I want you to respect yourself more than that. Respect yourself. And stop saying words like given, like even I used to say, I never got to give myself to somebody I wanted to. I like share. Share's a better word now. You're not a fucking present to be given, and nobody can take something away from you. So as far as my virginity was taken from me, bad terminology too that sets us up for feeling bad. I'm missing something. It was taken from me. My virginity is missing. That's a bunch of bullshit. Your virginity isn't missing. Okay? And I used to say that too. Yes, my virginity was taken. It's like, no, I was raped. Okay? So I didn't get a chance to have sex and share myself with someone when I wanted to, how I wanted to, and so I never learned what true intimacy was, and so I thought sex and intimacy were the same thing. So I got married and divorced 3 times, trying my darndest to have, and thought I did. I thought I had a good sex life because I learned I learned the basics, and I learned the physicality of it, but I never had the mind connection with the body. I was always still trying to be somebody, never in the experience to the extent that I too was receiving. So I gave, and I'm not bitching like, oh, they're all takers. It's no, all I knew how to do was give, and I wasn't even opening up to receive. So I want you to open up to receive. I want you to not wait to be okay, to feel okay, to be okay. I want you to open yourself up to receive, but do it with self-respect. Do it with self-control. Do it with the awareness that you dissociate and don't let that happen. Don't get drunk and drugged up in a situation where something might happen. If that's a pattern, cut it. Cut it. Respect yourself. You deserve to go back to what we've been talking about last week, to ask for what you want and not just take what's given in life. And to do that, you're going to need to stop the bad behavior. And to do that, take your dissociative skills that are leading you into this disrespecting behavior to yourself. And hey, people with alternate lifestyles who have sex with multiple people and you're all happy, not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that feel bad about it. Okay? You do you. I'm not to judge alternate lifestyles. If everyone's truly happy and centered, just make damn sure you are. Basically, if you have to pay, it's not okay. Hey, that rhymes. That should be like, if you have to pay, it's not okay. Okay, that's not an alternate lifestyle. That's a job. And I hope that, unless you seriously love the sex industry, and even if you do, I hope maybe you think about why you're doing these things and why maybe a little self-respect might make you feel better and lead you to a true intimacy. So again, that was my disclaimer. Now back to, don't do that. Don't just fuck randomly. Don't dissociate anymore. So once you do that, once you make that decision, go out there. And when I say put yourself out there, I mean open yourself up to receive signals from other people in a true and honest way. Not in a I'm fucked up and maybe he'll love me tomorrow way. Because he won't. Unless you get really lucky. I mean, there's those people that had a one-night stand and they're still together. They're out there. Kudos to your recognition of your deep love right away. But then there's the rest of us. And there's the other 99.9%. Respect yourself. Yeah. So respect yourself. And we're going to talk more nitty-gritty. Make sure I'm looking to see what else I want to talk about here. Oh, I never did. I started to say I'm going to do EMDR. So at my doctor's appointment, she asked if I'd ever done eye movement desensitization reprocessing. That's hard for me for some reason. Eye movement desensitization Can you say that fast? Desensitization. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It's proven to be effective because it's doing what I talk about in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, another mouthful, where you're taking jumbled mess of stuff, which is what your CPSD really is manifesting as, right? It's like, blah, it's like you're overcome, right? And then I tell you in our whole week on separating the past from the present to let that wash over you. Don't swallow it and try not to think about it. Just go, hey, I'm remembering what happened to me as a child. But my name is Linda Gifford. It's 2022. I have 3 children. I am blah, blah, blah. I'm at work. Talk it down. It goes away now. It hurt for a minute. but it's gone, and you didn't freak out, and you didn't jump down the rabbit hole, and you didn't lose your job, and everybody doesn't think you're a freak, right? Now you're just a normal CSA survivor who's taking steps to control themselves, and you move on, okay? And that's going to happen too in sexual situations, where something might remind you of something, and instead of having to stop and freak out, you can have a moment and move on. This has actually happened to me twice. We've been together almost 2 years, and it's only happened twice. And the 2 times it happened, I managed to forget all about it. Instead of going into it and letting it wreck a moment, I managed to quickly and undetectably the second time, just let it go. And yeah, I know what's going on, but that's not how I feel now. What I'm doing now is what I want to do because I want to do it. And I'm super thrilled to be doing what I'm doing now. And, I wasn't talking myself into it. It was a recognition. It was like, no, I'm super happy, except for that dumbass memory. Boom. So don't throw out the experience, throw out the memory, right? So you can't jump down that rabbit hole of CPTSD anymore because it just messes up things. So learn my spades, trigger management, little steps, and just tell them to yourself all day long, every day. That's why I made it a super easy name. And because spades means abundance, right? If you have something in spades, you have it in abundance. And it also means dig, like dig a grave for your... No, just kidding. It didn't mean that. So, we are going to talk more about this tomorrow and Friday, and we're going to move on to educating and advocating. Obviously, the big one, and it's more than just to change the world, it's to help you too. This is my therapy. This is my gun, my voice, my mouth. Please use yours, because you don't want to go to prison. Life in prison sounds really bad to me, really not a good thing. Vengeance is not worth it, but not because you have to be forgiving. No. Take your anger and your vengeance and go out there and change the world for the better, for other people, and for yourself. So, don't wait to feel okay to be okay. And I will talk to you tomorrow. All right? I'm going to go look at the comments right now, and we'll respond to anybody who wants to message. All right? Bye. And that means CSA survivors, partners, or those who work with them, not people who want to ask me out. Please, cut it out. I love my partner. Not happening.